Well, good evening, my sisters. It's so nice to be able to come and speak with you again today. Today is the second day of March 2022. Look how we are stepping already through the month. I made a commitment to, because she is my sister, that I would be here and that I would show up and that I would be live when I show up. Well, let me tell you, I want to tell you a little bit about my day. I said I was going to be on at 5 o'clock and that every day I was going to come and bring you a message of purpose. But I want to talk about reality, right? Not that anything bad has happened, it's just that life has happened and and more abundantly has happened. So I left with all intentions of being a woman of my word. Maybe I am talking about purpose because that's what living on purpose is all about, being a woman of your word and showing up in spite of life happening. And life is happening and coming full effect. I just because I want to testify if I can. Um, I'd like to testify. And what I mean by testify, I know some of you are probably going through some stuff right now. I woke up this morning and I was reminded, like I am sort of every day, that my BFF, my good friend, my road dog, my little sister, my buddy, I had so many names for her. She's not here with me. And this morning when I woke up and looked at my calendar on my phone, I was reminded of that she's not here with me in the physical sense. She's with me every day. There's not a place that I don't pass by and that I don't think about her and along the journey that she and I took together and that we were on together. And she completed her assignment ahead of me, and God called her on into glory, and I praise that, and I'm thankful for that. I know she lived her life in a manner that I know where she's spending eternity, and one day when my assignment is over, I'll too spend that time in eternity. But it's not over yet. At least for not right now, in the now, in this moment that God has given me. It's not over. But He's also given me, I like to say it this way, the bandwidth, the permission, the strength, the mindset, the heart set, and the feel set to live in this life with as the things are ebbing and flowing. Now, be clear, be very clear. Confusion, chaos is not from God. He does not send us those things. But that is part of the life that is here and around us. And when we're on this journey, whether you know your purpose or working towards your purpose, you will come to understand it just happens. Things happen. But here's the beauty, I get to show up. I get to show out and how my creator has designed me to be powerful. Remember yesterday I talked about our superpower is the fact that we are women. See, that was the first superpower. God created man, and look, and he said, "Ooh, okay, I've created man, but I'm going to give him coal, womb man, right? Companion, so that we wouldn't have to toil alone in this life." And then God proceeded to give us sisters that understand the journey that we're on and the battles that we go through, that will lift us up and lift our hands up, to the heavens when we need our hands up. Shout out to my sisterpreneur this morning. She checked in with me. She said, "How is your soul? You've been going through so much in this season. How many of you can say, I understand you, Dr. Marlena, that now I have become the parent to my parents, that we've come full circle in life, that now I am the one settling the arguments between my parents, that I am the one that is they call to when one wants to complain about the other." And I laugh because I say to them, I'm 57 years old. Y'all been going through this for 63 years. and you're still going at it in a loving, playful manner. You can't do with each other, you can't do without each other, and you're calling now your daughter to settle. Well, he says and she says. And I remind them, you're walking in love. You're walking walk in more love. You get to a point, like I said, you can't. I hear, I can't stand him, or I can't stand her. I know, but what you can't stand about them is what you truly attracts you to them and makes you love them. And if you look in the word says that love covers a multitude. And multitude is a big word, because it's the day that that it covers that thing that your mate says to you, that gets in your craw. That say, if you were if you were a oyster, there would be a pearl in there. But what is the beauty about the pearls? The more irritant that gets into that, the more precious the pearl. And many times the reality is that we just don't want to go through some of the stuff that we go through. But the stuff that you go through is what makes you uniquely different, what makes you uniquely the person that has only that fingerprint. Yeah, we share DNA, but God said, I know how many hairs you have, or how many you're missing now, how many are really truly gray, or how many you've covered up. He knows it all. So isn't it beautiful that in this season that we are going through, and I'm taking this message for myself, and I hope you find your space in it. When you're going through, that you can kind of get to the point. I got in the car and I was like, I'm not going to make it. I'm not going to make it home to be on time, but I want to be a woman of my word. And when I put a commitment out there, I really want to hold to my commitments. And I heard this voice speak loudly to me, say, hey, you've done Car Chronicles before. You have your studio. Go to your sisters. They will understand. Many of them are probably still on their ride home, and they'll hear this after. Many are finally home, and they're able to kind of woo-saw, but they know what kind of day today was, because maybe they were having one too. And then we can be thankful that we are now coming to the close of the day, that we're able to, if you have a corporate gig, or if you're an entrepreneur, you're getting to that point in your day where you're on the East Coast, the sun is set. I love this time of year because here in California, it's still light. A couple weeks ago at 5 o'clock, it was dark, but it's still light. So we're going into, my favorite time of year, when we spring forward. So we have a little more daylight. And so, you're at that point where you're kind of relaxing into your day, and you're able to say, you know what, Dr. Marlena, I understand, sister. We'll give you a pardon because you showed up. You didn't try, you showed up, and I'm here. So we are going to talk about, I'm feeling a little better, about not being in front of my equipment the way I wanted to, because I really did want to talk to you about purpose. And I wanted today to be our first day that we start talking about what were you designed for? Why did God allow that egg and that sperm to connect to create you? That when you would get to this day and you would say, no matter what the age is, you would say, what is my purpose? And am I walking in it? I did get some feedback. And one of the young ladies, she said, I said that you never work another day in your life once you find your purpose. Now, I'm not talking about the day where you get out and you earn a living, whether that's, again, entrepreneur, or you're doing a corporate thing, or but what I mean by in your spirit. And how many of you know that in your spirit, when you live intentionally and you live on purpose, and it's no longer Spoiler alert, it's no longer about you. And you said, wait a minute, Dr. Martin, I live my life about somebody else every day. There is a difference about living your life about someone else. That's when you live your life in purpose for someone else. You put you into a whole nother realm and a whole nother mindset, heart set, feel set about life. That's the life I'm talking about, where you never work again, where it no longer becomes about dollars and making sense. It becomes this supernatural thing that you can walk into a place and know that you now, yeah, I have to earn a living, and I might be punching somebody's clock, but while I'm here, while I'm on this soil, while I'm coming into the room, I'm bringing Christ into this room with me. So now we standing on holy ground, because see, it's no longer just about me. It's about the message that has to come through me, that work that has to be birthed through me, that I was designed to bring forth on this day. So when I come into a room, I am preceded in the room by the Holy Spirit. And so when we are now on holy ground, that when I'm talking to you and when I'm laughing with you and when we're sharing a training moment, or when we're drinking a cup of coffee, or we just sitting there listening to some nonsense, it's that moment that was designed for my purpose and for me to be there, for the light of God to shine through, and for someone to say, I'm, I, I can connect one more dot today. I can show up and take off one more layer of the mask that I've been wearing, because you showed up, because I showed up. We don't understand how well we were interconnected until the connection was shut off and we had to go home. Whew, I'm gonna say that again. See, we didn't understand how well connected and interconnected we were with each other until we had to stay home or go home or be in our homes. We didn't know that our jobs were an outlet for us, for us to get our message out. As I understand from the young people, we have to go out in the field. We can't just sit up in our houses. And what I mean by our houses, I mean ourselves. We can't just sit up in here and have, I want to influence, but I can't get out of my own way. I want to make a change in not only my life, but be influential in making a change. And if I said it wrong, forgive me. I'm talking fast, because God knows that my heart is one on one accord with the message of sisterhood, and how we come together to connect and collaborate. There is a graphic that goes around, and it's two boss sisters on it, and it says, we don't compete, we congratulate, we collaborate, we lift each other. I love another one that says that when the queen's crown is crooked, her sister is the one that puts it back in place. It doesn't tell everybody that it was crooked, because that's what sisters do. And that's what we're doing here. Because she is my sister. Let's break that down right there. Because she is my sister. And I see an eclipse at the end of that. Because she is my sister and we are on the journey together, no sister should be left behind. You can fill in what you want to fill in right there. Because she is my sister, I would lay my life down for her. Because she is my sister, I am going to tell her the truth in this season, not to harm her, hurt her, or criticize her, but because we have work to do. And together we can do the work. But if I'm not real with her and she's not real with me, nothing gets done. Because she is my sister, I can take off the mask and let the heart be heart to heart. See, there's so much power in that message alone. And see, what we've come to understand is, see, that's when you are walking in your purpose. See, when you can see the message beyond the words and you can start living in that space and you can reach out. And if your hand's like this, not giving back or giving to, it's that time that allows you to open your hand. So when you reach out, you can grab on and we can lock steps together. And I'm telling you, when I say magical, I'm not talking about smokes and mirrors type of magic. I'm talking about that heart magical, that when you feel your heart leap because another hole's been plugged in your soul, because your sister is the one that's on the journey with you and she's bringing you along and you're saying, I want to go along, and there's no resistance and you come along and you say, you know what, I don't know what it's going to look like, I don't know what it's going to feel like, I don't know what God has in store for me, but I am willing to discover it on the journey. And I'm telling you, that's where the beauty of this whole thing is, around our purpose, what God intended you to be and how to be, and for this glorious day, this day now is all we really have. In this moment, I could turn off this phone, this studio, this broadcast, and that could be it. Because all I have is the now. All I had was that last breath. All I have is the breath that I'm in. But what are you doing with yours? What am I doing with mine to better my sister, the next generation, the person next to me, person around me? Coming out of the store just now, I spoke to, there was two men standing there chatting away, and as I was exiting, I spoke to them, and they actually, all I said was good evening, and I think it took them aback a little bit because they paused and they both had face. I wasn't asking, I wasn't looking for nothing. I was just generally passing two fellow, humans and saying hello. And I laughed to myself because I know they were taken aback, because we're in a place sometimes you're tunnel vision and you're not speaking to each other. You're just going to get to one point to the next. And I sit and watch people many times. It's one of my things I love to do. And I know I took it, I laughed to myself. It's like, yeah, they didn't see that coming. It's like, wow, this lady spoke and kept moving, you know. So these are the things. And why did I tell you that? I'm telling you that because you need to be aware. Be aware of your surroundings. Be aware of the of just people. I had a mask on, but when I smiled, my eyes lit up. When you smile from your core, you light up. Somebody needs your light. So I'm gonna say this today. And God willing, tomorrow I am going to start us on our journey of purpose. I mean, you know me, I'm wired with, let's what's the plan? Let's follow the blueprint. Let's talk about it in a certain manner. And for 2 days I haven't been able to do that the way I plan to do it. But one of the things I've come to know is that when God has something for someone, and I'm not assuming, I know he has something for someone, because for the last 2 days, I haven't been able to do it the way that I wanted to do it. I haven't been able to come to you, my sisters, the way I, have it drafted here, out on the blueprint. But God says someone needs to hear it from the beginning. And so be patient with yourself, Dr. Marlena. You're going to get it out, but in his time. And I'm going to do that in his time. So let me give you a couple reminders. We are talking about purpose, and this month of Women's History Month, We're talking about purpose. I'm going to bring you some tips and some tried and proven ways to look for your purpose if you don't know it. If you do know it, how are you sharing it? You give me feedback. You send me questions. I thank those that have sent the questions last night about how, working, never working again. Yeah, you never work again, because it's more about your mindset, your soul, where your spirit is. And let me tell you, when you're walking in purpose, you're thriving, and you don't see it as it's just not work, because it's what you desire to do that morning when you get up and you set your intentions with God, and God says, yeah, I like that plan. Yeah, because you remember, we can co-create with God. If God sees his son Christ in what we want to do, he will give a green light. Now, be clear. Sometimes he gives a green light immediately. Sometimes he says, clear out. No, that's not the plan. He'll say no. And it's funny, we're good with the green light, we're good with the no. But when God says, wait, oh, here I am on day 2. I got a whole program, Father. Don't you know that? I got a whole, and he's saying, wait, Dr. Marlena. What I have has not aligned to what the plan is that you've created. Doesn't mean my plan, what I've created, doesn't get to go through. God simply said, wait. So I can wait and wait, agitated or upset or, about the process, or frustrated. And I know that he's not in the plan when I wait that way. Or I can wait and pivot, whatever you want to call it, 360, go forward, step out, don't stop. I'm continuing to pray, and I have faith that it's going to go through, and I have hope, confident expectation that it's going to come forward, and continue to put the message until he gives the flag. And sometimes on things that we have that are going on, we have to wait and know they may not come to fruition in the season that we want them to come to. It may be in our children. When I wrote my book, I was so excited to get out there, and I had lined up book signings at some local bookstores and some churches. I was so excited. We were going to do a coffee shop. I was going to buy people coffee. I wanted to get feedback on the books. By this time, I was already on book number 2, the version for men, and so I wanted. I was ready to go, and that was December of 99. I think I got 2 of them in between January and before March 20th, when we got shut down, and it stopped. There was no bookstores to go to. We couldn't do the coffee shop. Churches were closed. I mean, I don't have to tell you, everything was shut down. And I was on a call with one of my mentors, and she wasn't even meant. It was about, I want to say, about maybe 13 to 16 of us on this call. And she said, just like Dr. Marlena, she says she has written a book, but this book may not even come to its height, its grandeur. It made number 1 in several categories. But it may not come to what she envisioned right now. But can you just imagine 20 years, 25 years from now, a woman that's lost her identity, feeling stuck? Her nest is starting to empty. Her husband's doing his thing with his career or his business or his life. There's been loss through divorce, perhaps, or loss, uh, physical, natural loss, and she's sitting in there, thinking, what do I do? How do I move from this spot that I find myself stuck in? And rediscovering your destiny comes across her path. And the principles that God poured into me and allowed me to live and go through, that he allowed to come out into the written format, can be utilized today, tomorrow, or 20 years from now. And she finds her way to her purpose. She rediscovers her destiny. She rediscovers her identity. She redesigns her life, and she reinvents who she is into what God designed her to be. And I'm, well, hopefully in 20 years, I'm still here. But it could be 100 years, 150 years. We don't know because we live on Chronos time, but God lives on Kairos time. Look it up if you don't know the difference. That's some homework for you. And she finds her space and her purpose 100 years from now. And so those seeds that were planted in this season manifest in that season. That's what walking in purpose is. It's about the legacy that you're leaving behind for your children, for your grandchildren, for your great grandchildren. That's what purpose is really all about. And we'll officially, at some point, we'll try. No, no, try. You do or you don't. Tomorrow, my intention is to come at you with some of the stuff on the blueprint. But I'm open to what God has for me in this season. I got to tell you, when I started talking to you earlier today, I was a little frazzled. But as I sit here, the peace that passes all understanding has now lit upon me, and I feel anchored back to my source. And as the sun starts to set here in California, I don't I don't feel that apprehension, that anxiousness, that loss of my girl. Keely Wheelie, oh my God, Keely Garth Williams, that was Keely Williams Garth, was my soul sister. I don't feel that ache that I was feeling earlier. So I thank you for those of you that are watching, those of you who are listening. If there was comments, I'll go back and review them. I my hand is the handheld. I holding the phone so I couldn't look at the comments. But just know that when you walk in peace, when you walk in purpose, you find your peace in the midst of your storm. And I'll leave you with that tonight. And I'll see you back here 5 p.m. Pacific time, 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern. Until then, God be the glory. Because she is my sister, what are you going to do tonight? I suggest you call one. I'd love to give you success work. Call one of your sisters, text one of your sisters, and tell them that you love them and that they are the best thing for you, to you, since sliced white bread or white on rice or with peanut butter and jelly. Whatever it is, don't keep it to yourself. Let them know. Have an amazing evening. Much love.